It's camping season. Time to make something really cool for all the campers out there. So the camping niche is huge, guys. In case you don't know, which I'm sure you do, there is billions of dollars spent every year on camping gear. In fact, there's stores that specialize in just camping stuff. So if you can make something that appeals to that demographic, I think you got a winner, and I think this is a great way to do this. So here we have our second generation campfire. The first generation that we had was really fragile and they were always getting broken in shipping. So we came up with this. Vicky found this one and I thought it was fine. And then a few weeks ago we ran into Floyd down in Phoenix area, and he wanted me to carve this, and I realized that I'd never carved it before. It just looks all kind of muddled at the bottom. You can't really tell what's what. We wanted to replace this one and come out with a brand new version that looks better, has more detail, especially down here in the wood area, and I think we got a winner. We're using several different products today. Obviously, the new campfire. We're gonna use our regular beer mug, and then we're using two versions of our fatty fawn, our 1 inch and our 1.5 inch. Links in the description below of everything we're using, including the router bits and the whole deal. Let's get started.
For this sign we used a 6x30 inch board, which is a little bigger than our normal size signs, but there's quite a bit of work on this one. So the first thing Dad's doing is he's getting an idea where his templates are going to go, and then he's marking them. That way we know how much room he has to work with for his lettering. So the top line is going to be outset, and it's going to be quite a bit longer than the bottom line. So Dad's putting the lettering round about where they're going to go, and he's marking his bottom line. Now for the arch, what you want to do is you want to measure from the top down and make sure you have equal measurement on each side. That way your arch isn't cockeyed, because it's really easy to kind of get those messed up. Once he has his line for his arch, then he's going to get his lettering exactly where he wants it. That way he can center his bottom line and then set those up exactly where they need to be. Now, one thing you want to make sure of is if you have contractions like that's and I'm, you want to leave a little bit of space for apostrophes, or if you're carving something with commas, you just need to make sure to leave some space to put the punctuation in there. Then Dad's going to spray his primer, and make sure when you do this, you do it in short spurts. That way it's easier to control the pressure coming out of the can.
Real quick, guys, if you guys like what we do, if you find value out of it, hit that subscribe button and that like. We've got tons of great stuff coming up. And one other thing, if you can go over to makeawoodsign.com, check out all of our supplies. We don't have paid sponsors. That's how we actually fund our business. We sure would appreciate it.
The first bit Dad's using is the profile bit at 3/16 of an inch deep. Now when it comes to templates, there's two ways to do them. There's inset or outset. So what inset means is, generally speaking, not always, but generally, you're carving away the wood. What outset means, again, generally, is that you're carving away the black. So Dad's gonna do the campfire outset. I think it looks better that way. He did them both on a practice piece and they both turned out pretty good, but outset just looks a little bit better. It's a little bit bigger, and also it gives you a little bit more surface to do the color with. And now when you're selling signs, color really attracts more eyes. So it's always good to add that if you can. So basically Dad's just going around at 3/16 of an inch deep, and he's gonna do the outline of the campfire. Now for the beer mug, he's doing inset, so he's carving away the wood. Now for the lettering, for the top line, he's doing outset. So you kind of see a theme here. There's different ways to do everything, and everybody has their own style. So Dad wants the top line to be outset with the cloud around it, and the bottom line we're going to do inset. And guys, I'm trying different ways of editing here, so hopefully you guys like this a little better than the choppiness that I've done in the past. So leave a comment below, let me know what you think about the editing. If you like it when I speed it up, or if you like it when I do the choppiness, I'm kind of curious to get your guys' thoughts on that. So now Dad's going to take that same profile bit and he's going to drop it down to about 1/4 of an inch, maybe even a little bit more. And this he's going to use to go around all of his outset carving to give himself more room when he goes back to clean up with a 90-degree bit. Now this is a step that I used to hate. It used to feel like I was just repeating myself and that it was kind of wasted time. But in all reality, this whole step right here only took Dad maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and it gives it a nicer look, and it also really helps when it comes to going back around everything with your 90-degree bit. Now Dad's going to use the 60-degree bit at 3/16 of an inch deep to do the 1-inch inset letters. Now this can be really difficult to do depending on the font. Clarendon 1-inch inset letters are the things I have the absolute hardest time with. But this is fatty font, and fatty font is really not very difficult because it's got a lot of rounded corners, it doesn't have any serifs, and this 60-degree bit does a really good job carving these. It takes a little bit of practice, but if you're just starting out, I highly recommend using fatty font first before you go into something a little bit more difficult like Clarendon or even Squares Bold. Fatty font is really the first font you want to try if you're just beginning. Now Dad put in the 90-degree bit at 1/4 of an inch deep. Now one thing that people don't really realize if you haven't done it much is how wide this 90-degree bit cuts. You can see Dad's getting real close to his carving right there, and that's after he went around that campfire twice, once at 3/16 of an inch deep and once at 1/4 of an inch deep with the profile. So doing that extra step and giving yourself a little bit more room can really turn out to save you a lot of time. That way you're not getting so close and you might end up hitting what you don't want to hit with the router bit. For the lettering, he's going to go around and make a cloud. Now this can be kind of difficult, especially for newer people, so if you have a hard time just kind of eyeballing it, it's a good idea to draw a line with a pencil. That way you know exactly what it's going to look like before you start carving. Then once the cloud is done, all you got to do is go inside and take out the rest of the black. Now this is where the depth of your bit really comes into play, because if your bit is too shallow, say if it's 1/8 of an inch deep, or sometimes even 3/16 is too shallow, then you're going to have a lot of high spots you'll have to touch up after you sand. You want to get this bit nice and deep, and it gives the sign a much better 3D look. You want to get as much depth as you can. For the edge, Dad's using the chainsaw grinding wheel. Now this thing is dangerous, so he's got leather gloves on and he's got a face shield and also an apron. This thing's a lot of fun to use, just like most dangerous things are, but you really got to be careful because if this thing gets away from you, man, it'll take a hand off or a finger off real quick. He's just doing vertical chops all along the edge to give it kind of an outdoorsy, almost kind of a live edge feel. One of the challenges with this edge is that you can really easily leave a lot of white spots in there. So you need to be able to hit it from multiple different angles, and also be careful not to overspray, because if you overspray, it'll cause quite a bit of bleeding. Luckily, Dad's been doing this for a while, and to be honest, it doesn't take that long to get a hand at it. You just use short spurts, and you want to make sure to stay fairly far away, maybe around 1 foot away from the sign while you're spraying. That'll really help you to avoid overspraying your signs. Now that it's all sprayed and sanded off, which by the way Dad did with just an 80 grit disc on the disc sander, he's using Sharpies and also little Tombow paint pens to put the color on here. You can use paint if you want to, it lasts a little bit longer, but we're not very good at painting, so we're just using Sharpies. But once you put the clear on it, it really does stay for quite a while. You'll have to touch it up maybe once a year, But anytime you can add color to a sign, it attracts a lot more eyes and they generally sell quite a bit better. We put about 6 coats of clear on this thing, but to be honest, that's really going to depend on how glossy you want it to look and the type of weather the sign is going to be out in.
Really happy with the way this came out. I love that new campfire design. I dig this edge. It may be my favorite edge right now, using that little chainsaw. I think it gives a real outdoorsy, almost live edge feel. Again, that chainsaw thing's kind of dangerous, so you want to be careful. This just gives you an example of a niche sign, guys. Find a niche that you can go after. The camping outdoor niche is huge. It's coming into spring. Now is a great time to make signs like this and go after that niche. Get them on Facebook Marketplace, however you do your marketing. And I think you're going to sell some of these, especially if you can get color involved. I just think it's really a cool idea. So again, thanks for watching, guys. If you have ideas that you want to run past us, email me, eric@makeawoodsign.com. Leave us a comment. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. We love you. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.